I'm happy to be back with you to discuss the last book that I read in 2025. And it is The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. And this book actually was presented to me. Well, I found out about this book from the Mad Women's Library. You could find them on social, on Instagram. One of the hosts of that channel is Kristen Crook, who I absolutely love. If you don't know Kristen Crook, she used to be on Smallville. She also starred in Beauty and the Beast, which was absolutely awesome. If you haven't seen it and you like sci-fi, it's one to watch, and I believe it's still on Netflix. And she's currently starring in Murder in a Small Town, which I started watching. I have to continue, but it's not really my genre that I like to watch. It's obviously by the title, it's a lot of deaths and murders, and even though I love her, I really I was trying to watch it, and then it's kind of gets dreary and all of that, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get back into it. Maybe, possibly, we'll see. But I love her in the sci-fi genre. Smallville, that's how I found her work initially. That's how I got to know this book, The Memory Police, and decided why not, try it. She was recommending it, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go for it, and I am gonna read this book. It is not a genre that I would normally pick for myself, because I like novels that they can be a lot of problems, but I don't want it to be so dark. I want there to be some sort of lightness to it as I'm reading it, or at least heading towards lightness. And this one was challenging to a certain extent, because it really keeps you on that path of dystopian, a dystopian world. And I was hoping to see some sort of light. I don't want to give anything away, but it's very emotional. The story is very emotional, and I actually got teary-eyed even towards the end. Later on in the story, much later on, where I was hoping to feel some sort of relief, and it was like it just keeps going and going and going into this darker and darker and darker type of emotion. And anyway, let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about it. I'm going to I don't want to give anything away, so I'm going to keep a lot of things vague. But basically, it starts off on an unknown island, and we're following this author, this novelist, and it's just an island, and they don't say what the island is called or anything like that, so you're kind of like wondering. They're living there, and you find that it is definitely a not a good place to live, because it is controlled by what's called the memory police, and they control what stays and what goes, as far as your memories, what you can remember, things, objects. It could be anything. It's just your memories will just fade away. Things like just regular things like a tree, you won't even know what a tree is anymore. And within that island, objects along with your memory start disappearing from the island. So it becomes this very authoritarian state where you don't have control over your life. Your life is governed by these police. You don't know what you'll remember in the next minute or the next second. You don't know what's going to be ripped and taken from you. Your identity, who you are, the people that you love and know just get stripped away. Little by little, they just take away people's life. Like your life is just, taken away, because without your memory, who are you? What do you know? Like, you're basically disappearing little by little. That island is absolutely a nightmare to be living in. So this novelist, she is experiencing this, and she has her editor with her, and her editor soon confides in her, and he says that his memories are all intact. He remembers everything, and he is one of the few, if not the only one in the island. They don't really go into detail, but he is practically the only one that can remember, as far as what we know, besides the author, the novelist. Her mother also was somebody who they could not remove her memory. So whoever is on that island, if they find out that your memories are still intact, they come looking for you because they want to handle you. They want to make sure that you are no longer the only one or the exception to their ruling or control. They want to make sure that you, or that person that still remembers, they crack you. They they want you to be under their control. So obviously they want to crack your code and figure out why you're not able to be under their control. Yeah, so he confides that he still remembers objects, he still remembers things, and and there's conversations that they have, and he's like, do you remember this? And he's pointing, like he's just describing things, like just an object, like a cup or something like that. And she's like, oh, the novelist is telling him, I don't really remember what that is. And it's so interesting because it just reminds me of possibly somebody with dementia. Like, little by little, they start to forget things and people, and it's very it's very sad. It's so sad because you have all of these people, and it's like your life is not your own anymore. People are living in this state, like everyone practically is living in this state of dementia, but not because they have something within their physical structure that is debilitating them. It's because they're being controlled and ruled, and their life is not their own. So what happens when people start forgetting? Like, how does society go on? What happens to relationships? Little by little, they start getting destroyed because you're just not remembering more and more and more every single day. So you can imagine what a nightmare that is, where you don't know what's next. You can't plan out your life. You're just in this limbo type of structure, this nightmare, this haunting, and it doesn't stop. I was so, like, there's certain points where I just had to take a break from this because it's just very sad. It like kind of like sucks you into this world, and it's almost like a dream-like state where you kind of get to know, she lets you in on like the novelist's life and her mom and the background and what she can remember, and it starts getting very deep into just very emotional into her mind and how she's thinking about life and what's next and what's to become of her, what's to become of her editor, who can still remember everything. Imagine if you're in a world where you're the only one that can remember life, life itself, objects, things. Who do you trust with that information that you can still remember? And so that gets very tricky, where maybe you can't tell just anyone that you can still remember because you don't know who to trust. But he was very relieved that he could trust in the novelist, that he does remember, and have a discussion with her about, just about things. That conversation, as I said before, was very interesting because she doesn't remember certain things, and he's talking about things, and she's like, I vaguely remember this. And she actually did start stirring up a little bit in her mind, where she could remember vaguely the things that he was talking about. So I thought that was very, very interesting. It's almost like teaching someone for the first time about things in the world. Like you have a toddler, just learning about things, what things are, and you're like, do you see this? This is a pen. Like, do you remember what you use it for? Do you remember this at all? And it gets very like, you can feel the loneliness in that, because there's a loneliness where if you're the only one who knows, it's very like lonely, and I felt that reading this book. I felt the loneliness, I felt the isolation, because now he has to live in hiding, because the memory police do get, I don't know how, they get intel. They figure out things like, who can't remember, and they'll come after you to kill you, to basically erase you, to erase your life if you cannot be controlled. What makes this book really unique and powerful, almost with emotion, is it's very dark, but it's very subtle. Like you learn things in a very slow, subtle way. Like things start happening, and it's not like blatant or in your face. It's just things happen very slowly, little by little. But it's very dreary. It's very dark. It's very depressing. It can be very depressing. But I don't want to steer anyone away from reading this book, because I was able to get through the whole thing, and it actually made me feel very, like, in the end, like, wow, like you appreciate the life that you have, because after reading this, it's like, oh my god, like things would be so much worse. Imagine if life were like that. How horrible, how much of a nightmare it is. Once I would close this book out for the day, I'm like, wow, like I'm good. This is like so bad. The circumstances that the individuals that live on this island have to go through and have to live through, and then you don't even remember in the end like what's going on, like who you are, and you're gonna be really shocked. The ending, it really shocked me. The things that later on get presented and just disappear, and the things that I was like, I can't believe this is happening. The next thing that disappeared was horrible, like absolutely horrible. You have to read this book. You have to read it all the way through to the end. It makes you definitely feel something, and it definitely pulled me towards, like I said, being grateful of the life that I have, even though I already am, but even more so, like just a reminder, because I'm reading this book, how just this whole imagined universe, imagine if that were real, because in the end I was like, wow, this is the last book that I read in 2025. Like, did I make the right choice? Because it wouldn't have been my first choice, but you know what, I did make a great choice, because it was the end of the year, and I felt really grateful, even more so after learning about these individuals, learning about this island, and how much of a nightmare life could be in this world. And books and stories can make you feel certain emotions, make you feel inspired, and all the things, right? So this really gave me a great sense of sadness, but at the same time, it's a made-up story, so I was like feeling good that, wow, thank God this is just in the book. So it's a sad book, but it's also at the same time makes you reflect on your life, if you're like me, on your life. I really wanted the novelist to have hope and peace and things turn around for her, and you'll have to read this to see what happens to her in the end, and how she survives, how she is in the end. It's uncomfortable, it's sad, it's thought-provoking, it makes you think about life. A little background on the author: she is a very, very popular, well-known author in Japan. This book was translated into English and very well. She is very well known for writing stories that are unsettling and dark and thought-provoking. She has spoken about her fascination, or how fascinating it is to her that how people adapt to loss, and how forgetting can slowly reshape society and people's identity. She approached this writing this book as a psychological and emotional exploration into what happens when people go through loss and suffer through loss, and then learn how to live without them. So very interesting, very, very interesting, and I do recommend this book. I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads. I hope that you get a chance to pick it up and read it and go through this psychological and emotional exploration of wow, it's almost like undiscovering who you are. Everything gets wiped, like practically, and like oh my god, it's very dreary, guys. But I highly recommend it, because you know, just the thought of things, people you love and your life just being erased without your consent, like on purpose. One of the things that I really, really wanted to know is who are the memory police. She doesn't answer like who this authoritarian lawmakers or bodies of government on this island, who are they and why are they doing this to people? What is it that happened to make them resort to this these cruel actions of just taking people's lives away from them? So she does not go into it. I guess it's for, you know, that wasn't the main thing she was trying to explore in her writing. You just have to use your imagination, and that's it. But I really wanted to have questions like, who are they? Who's behind this? Who are the madmen behind this, or the madman behind this type of scenario? And how did this island come about? How are these things going on that are like magical and so surreal? How are they happening? Who is doing it? Is it like a supernatural thing, a magical thing? Like, I would have enjoyed reading a little bit more, exploring a little bit more on that. If you stayed all the way to the end of this video, thank you for your support. And I hope that I can get another book read very soon, and continue along giving you book reviews and my thoughts on what I've read. So if you like this episode, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel, because it really does help me to make more videos. And on that note, guys, I will see you on the next one.